Hi everyone, Dutchlie here for another Sims 4 house building video. I've been working on this build for the past few weeks. I actually had the design down almost a month ago at this point, but I just finished recording and editing a couple days ago, so I apologize for the long gap since my last video. I will be getting on a more consistent video upload schedule now that the summer is coming to an unfortunate end. This one's continuing the nautical theme that I've been going with for the past few videos. Obviously, a lighthouse is about as nautical as it gets. And I've been spending a lot of time traveling and on the water this summer, so I've been seeing a lot of lighthouses. And I was kind of inspired to build one in The Sims. I don't remember ever seeing one on YouTube or in The Sims at all. And that's not to say that there aren't any on YouTube. There probably are, but I haven't looked specifically. When I was considering making this build, I didn't want to ruin the fun of it and see how other people do it. I just kind of wanted to just go in and build it, so that's what I did. I will say it was a little bit of a challenge. There aren't a lot of lighthouses that can be built in The Sims. By lighthouses, I mean like there aren't a lot of real life lighthouses that would work in The Sims. Just due to the limitations that are in the game. The Sims is designed to build more traditional type houses, so there are a lot of things you can't do. For example, you could see that the structure I built is just vertical basically, and it's not even circular. A lot of lighthouses are wider at the base and they get narrower at the top, and that's just not something you can do in The Sims very easily, or if at all. I tried playing with the roofs a little bit to make it work out, and it just didn't really. So it's sort of like a square vertical lighthouse, and there are some that look sort of like that, but it's not what I was hoping for. But I think it came out actually pretty well in the end, so it worked out. So I knew from the beginning that I wanted to have the actual house and the lighthouse themselves attached, but I wasn't really sure how to do it. I started off with a hallway in the original design, and then I realized that there wasn't a whole lot I could do with it besides it being a hallway, and it was sort of just a waste of space. So I deleted the walls and just kept the roof there, and then I added those little barriers. You can see that the lighthouse is pretty high off the water, and it's right on the water, so there's probably going to be a lot of wind there, so if it's raining, the rain's not going to be coming straight down or anything like that. So I put those barriers there to sort of protect your Sims as they walk between the two buildings. I guess I've come a long way from the days of trapping my Sims in an empty room without any doors and hitting the fast forward button to see what happens. I was considering what a lot of people's perceptions of lighthouses are when I was building this. I'm from New England, so I see lighthouses all the time. I realize people live in nicer places. I'm just kidding. I live in New England most of the time. But I think that a white lighthouse with a red stripe is a fairly common one, so that's what I did. Why don't you guys let me know what you think? Does this look like a stereotypical lighthouse to you, or is it not really what you would expect? Do you see lighthouses regularly, or do you see them like in pictures or in movies? Let me know. But I was in Nova Scotia last week, and we saw a bunch of lighthouses, and it seemed like every lighthouse was white with a red stripe. And I know that's not typical. They're not always that consistent, but I think it's a fairly common design. So you can see up here I'm building the top deck of the lighthouse. It's not really a usable space for the Sims. I mean, they can go up there, but it's really just to look functional. You can see I put in the Sims light, or really, I guess the Sims diamond. Is that even what it's called? I don't know. But I call it the Sims diamond. Just a really enlarged version of the Sims diamond as the light. I kind of like the green, especially when it's night. From the outside, it looks really cool. The green, even though it's not really typical. Yeah. So I wasn't really sure what to do with the interior of the lighthouse itself. I knew I wanted it to be as usable as possible for the Sims, but I also wanted to make it look functional like a real lighthouse, and that's where the top deck comes in. It really is just functional. So here we are in the kitchen. You can see I'm putting in the counters there right now. The ceilings, unfortunately, are really, really high. in the actual house part of the build, and that's just because, as you could probably see, they really had to be. If they weren't, the lighthouse itself wouldn't be tall enough, and you can't have different ceiling heights in different buildings on the same lot, which makes sense. I mean, it would be complicated to do that, but it makes it so that way this house has to have really high ceilings, unfortunately. So I tried to compensate for that and make the interior of this house make it look very homey, or as much as I could. So it definitely has a rustic and homey feel to it. At least that's what I was going for. In hindsight, I would have changed a couple things about the kitchen. It was hard to tell with the high ceilings exactly what it would look like when I wasn't in build mode. Basically, when I'm not looking at it from a top-down view. I mean, it's not totally top-down, but once I got in there with the camera to take screenshots, and I was basically at eye level for where a sim would be, it looked a little bit off, but I still think it came out well. I just basically moved around some decorations and stuff like that. So I think it came out pretty well. I was struggling a lot with the layout of the house portion. It took me a really long time. This actually took me the longest time to get the layout of this house right. I had a very specific vision of what it would be, and I didn't want the house width to be any wider than the base of the lighthouse, or not much wider. So I was playing with a very limited amount of space, which is okay because I wanted this to be sort of a one person or a one couple home. And you could have kids. There's this bedroom near the top of the lighthouse, but it's far away from the master bedroom, so it wouldn't really be ideal. And I ideally would have had a second bedroom in the house, but there just wasn't enough room for it. Even getting the room for this bedroom and keeping the kitchen nice, because that was my focus. I wanted to keep the kitchen nice and big and open. So there really wasn't a place to put second bedroom, especially if I was going to have that living room over in the corner. And that, even just including that, was a struggle with the amount of space that I had. And like I said, I didn't want to change the dimensions of the house after I put it. So as much as I love the fall, the summer is coming to a bittersweet end for me. I consider this to be a summer build, and I do have one more summer build planned, which I should be uploading next week. And I'm actually really excited about that one. You'll see why. I won't say exactly what it is, but you'll see why I'm really excited about it next week when I upload it. So if you are interested in seeing that, I recommend hitting the subscribe button, so that way that video will pop up on your little feed at your homepage as soon as I upload it. But if you guys have any recommendations for what you want to see in some more fall or winter style builds, let me know, because I really like the rustic look. So if you don't want to see a cabin or a colonial for every build every week for the rest of the fall, I recommend letting me know what you guys want to see, and I do want to build what you guys want. I really like this L-shaped shelf that I have here. I'm not sure why, but I especially because the decorations on it are fitting for the house. So I really liked how that came out. We're in the backyard now. I was going for a natural feel in the backyard. You'll see in a second. Right now, my mediocre attempt at making a pond. I was trying to make it look natural, or at least make it look like a pond. But that was difficult to do. I'm not sure why they got rid of the pond tool. I thought it was kind of neat little function that they had there. I'm not sure when they got rid of the last one, or when the last one was. I don't know did they have it in Sims 3, or was Sims 2 the last time? You guys know? I don't know, but the lack of the pool or the pond tool, and even more importantly, the lack of the terrain tool has been a significant, I don't want to say issue, but damper on creativity when I'm coming up with design for builds more than anything. For example, an osprey nest, I would have had hills behind it a little bit, and that would have sort of allowed for a bridge to connect to the actual building, which is how the house itself was designed, the real house was designed. So I thought that would have been cool, but I really liked it, so I left the bridge there anyway and just had it hanging there, I guess. But yeah, so I don't know why they got rid of the terrain tools. I'm sure there's a valid reason for it. But if any of you guys know why they got rid of it, or if they plan on bringing it to The Sims 4, I would appreciate if you could share your knowledge with me, because that's something I've been wondering for a long time since I've been playing this game. But anyway, thanks to the Move Objects tool, I was able to make the pond look passable, I guess. I definitely would not have been able to pull it off without that. And I could have probably made it a little bit better, but frankly, I was losing my patience with playing with it, and I just decided it was good enough as it was. You guys decide. I think it looks okay, I guess. It's not really a main feature of the house. It's really just to take up some space and make the backyard look and feel a little bit better. And I think the noise from the fountains would be nice for the ambiance back there with The Sims. You can see I basically just wanted it to look as natural as possible. I have those trails looking like they're leading right into the woods. A lot of trees there. I wanted it to have like an unmaintained or undeveloped look to it. I didn't spend a lot of time on the furniture outside. Again, I wanted it to look relatively untouched, so I just kind of threw a table back there. And it's a nice place to sit, especially if that bonfire there, and you can see the water from the backyard and all that. And I'm sure it would be nice. And you can also see the water through the breezeway connecting the lighthouse and the house, which I actually really like that feature. So we're in the base of the lighthouse now. I'm throwing a bar in here. I thought that was a appropriate thing to do with the bottom level of this lighthouse here. It's kind of a big space. Oh, you can see I'm adding in this airplane now. I wanted to have something attaching it to the ceiling, but you guys can use your imaginations. Basically, it's just supposed to be a decoration hanging from the ceiling, but I couldn't find anything that would look like a wire. Throwing in some barrels there. I wanted to make it look like there's some rum or something just sitting in there. And I actually like how the bar came out. It's probably the most like the brightest and cheeriest room in the entire build. The interior of the actual house is rustic and homey, and the rest of the lighthouse is kind of cold and functional. But the bar downstairs is definitely a nice place for your Sims to hang out. And upstairs now, you can see another one of the rooms of the lighthouse. This is supposed to be the second bedroom of the house. Basically, you can see the two bunk beds in the corner, and you can have guests there if you want. You wouldn't be a very good host if you put your guests there, but or your lighthouse keeper could use it if there's a storm or something and they need to be on watch. Like I said, I wanted the house to look as much like a real workable lighthouse as you can. So here we have the final product. You can see the cliffs there. I was ecstatic when I found this lot for this build. It was perfect for it. Here's the bedroom and the bar on the base of the lighthouse and the breezeway. You can see the water from both the left and out through the breezeway. So that's it for this build, guys. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, make sure you like and subscribe and follow the show on Instagram.